Pivoting away from wage pressures, but more broadly, the supply chain issues that are kind of everywhere at the moment around the world. What do you think was the initial trigger for those pressures? Was it simply the pandemic, or does it go back further than that, tariffs and other political issues, or is it even more recent than the pandemic?
Well, we're in the small package delivery, and when we get a package, we deliver it. But many of the supply chain issues that are jamming up the world's economy go way upstream. And if you think about, well, what drove these challenges? If you go way upstream, manufacturers they were running lean manufacturing. They were running just-in-time inventory, which worked very well until the pandemic hit. When the pandemic hit, manufacturing slowed down. And then when the world started to recover, the demand outpaced the capacity. So we found ourselves with a lack of supply. We found ourselves with capacity constraints on ocean freight and air freight. And then when the products finally get here to the United States, well, they're jamming up in the ports. Some of that's because of the labor shortage. Some of that's because of COVID. But when the packages finally get out of the ports and they're on their ways to warehouses or retail stores or to small and medium-sized businesses, that's where we come into place, and we deliver those packages.
How long do you expect these pressures to last, Carol, around the supply chain and the bottlenecks and the shipping delays?
Yeah, I'm afraid this is going to last for a while. These issues have been a long time in coming, and it's going to take all of us working together to clear the blockages.
Into next year, well into next year, beyond that, do you have any visibility?
You know, it's hard to predict. I focus more on the small package market, and for the small package market, we see growth. As e-commerce continues to grow, we see opportunities for our business to grow, and we are certainly leaning into the areas of our market that values our end-to-end network. Areas like small and medium-sized businesses, and of course, healthcare logistics. You know, we've been in the healthcare logistics business now for almost 15 years, and we're delivering vaccines. I'm proud to say that we've delivered over 600 million vaccines in more than 100 countries, and by the end of this year, we will deliver 1 billion vaccines.
The Biden administration just this week announced that it's going to be shipping another $500 million around the world, purchasing and then shipping. How tricky is it? How challenging is it to do that with the temperature requirements and the fact that these vaccines can expire so that not a single one is wasted?
Yeah, it's a complicated supply chain for sure, and that's why companies like UPS, who are experts in cold chain logistics, can help. For example, we manufacture dry ice that accompanies the vaccines that are traveling around the world. We have specialized labeling that are battery-powered labels so that we never lose the package as it's traveling around the world. We've stood up command centers to make sure we know where those packages are. All those vaccines that we've delivered at 99.9% effectiveness.
What about shipping rates, Carol? Because every conference call you hear these days, the company is blaming supply chain issues and higher shipping costs and freight costs. What's happening with rates next year for UPS?
Well, there's a demand-capacity imbalance. And anytime you have a demand-capacity imbalance, when there's more demand than capacity, pricing is tight.
So expect those higher prices to continue, I guess, is the message. And finally, you know, you move so much GDP around, I think 6% of the U.S. every day. There are questions about whether our economy is slowing because of the Delta variant, or whether the stimulus is wearing off and whether we're going to pick back up. What do you see right now for the U.S. economy into the end of this year and next?
Well, there's been a little bit of debate recently coming out of the authorities who forecast economic growth. The economy is growing, perhaps not as growthy as we thought at the beginning of the year, but the economy is still growing.